Flagstaff Lake, formerly Flagstaff Township. In the 40s and 50s, Central Maine Power had started buying up people's homes. Some people moved their homes to nearby town Eustis. Other people held out for as long as they could. Central Maine Power flooded the town, built this lake for a hydro dam, the Long Falls Dam. Just off to the edge of the dam is part of the original Flagstaff Cemetery. The remainder of it was somewhere in the middle of the dam. This is the dam. So what Flagstaff did, and you'll see later on in our video, they moved the cemetery. They dug up the graves and moved the cemetery to nearby Eustis as well. What's interesting to know that a lot of people alive today are not aware that underneath this lake used to be two towns. There was Dead River Township and Flagstaff Township. Both towns were flooded to make way for this lake. If you fly a drone over the lake, you can see old roads under the lake. So guys, we're still on our way to Eustis. We took the fastest route, and GPS routed us on an old logging road. So we had to travel like 20 something miles on roads like this through the woods. Actually, this section of the road is a lot better than previous sections we've been on. So when we get to Eustis, we'll continue our video. If anything else pops up, we'll come back on, but we'll see you when we get there. Take care. Hey guys, Doug and I just stopped for lunch at a little store on Route 27 next to Flagstaff Lake called Pines Market. Excellent pizza, excellent burgers. And this is the view from the parking lot of Pines Market. What you're looking at is part of Flagstaff Lake. And if you look really close out there, like right in the middle of your screen right here, this little sandbar is part of an old road that used to run through Flagstaff. Beautiful, beautiful place. What you're looking at in the background is Mount Bigelow. Just wanted to show you a different angle and a different perspective of the lake and how massive this lake actually really is. Hi guys, welcome back to Exploring with Doug and Darren 207. I'm Darren.
I'm Doug.
And today we're doing a story on Flagstaff, Maine. Flagstaff was a small farming community along the banks of the Dead River in Flagstaff, Maine. When in
1950s.
In the 1950s, Central Maine Power decided to dam up the river and flood out the town. Some of the homes in the town, they bought from the people of the town. Other homes, people moved their homes to nearby communities such as Eustis or Stratton. But the people who didn't sell their homes tried to hold out for as long as they could. And they flooded the town, leaving those houses behind. One of the buildings that was in the town was the Flagstaff Church. They took out the windows of the church. They took out the pews and tore down the church. Here in Eustis, they built a small memorial chapel using the existing windows of the church from Flagstaff and the pews. So these windows came out of the original Flagstaff Church. Another interesting thing to note, that Flagstaff wasn't the only town that was flooded. Dead River Plantation was also flooded. But before the floods, they moved the cemetery. This is the Flagstaff and Dead River Cemetery, which was originally in Flagstaff and now sits in Eustis, Maine. This is another section of Lake Flagstaff. In the background, we have Mount Bigelow. So I know that Flagstaff was somewhere near Mount Bigelow. Beautiful, beautiful area. Way in the back, that white snow cap, that Sugarloaf ski area. So I'm going to let my buddy Doug here tell you a little bit about what happened here at Flagstaff Lake.
By 1924, the Maine legislature had approved the plan for constructing Flagstaff Lakes. Starting in 1930, the Central Maine Power Company started buying farms and houses within the proposed forage area. So while it was a widely known fact that the lake was going to be constructed between 1925 and 1947, few people living within the proposed area to be inundated thought that the project would ever happen. The last year, 1949, was the saddest scene. It was a dry year, and thousands of woodsmen were hurrying to cut all the trees and burn the brush. The forestry department preferred they wait to burn during a safer period, but in the middle of the night, many fires were illegally kindled. Fires reached beyond the area to be flooded, burning homes in areas not yet purchased by CMP. It was a bad scene, especially for the elderly who were clinging onto their homes, as long as they could, waiting for a settlement. All roads were discontinued, and the cemeteries were dug up. Fires were everywhere. With the valley full of smoke and the dam nearly completed, some families were packed up and hustled off by fire officials. When they returned, it was only to be moved again when the water levels began to rise.